Hello everyone, good morning. Myself Shushmita Mitra, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Jagannath Singh College. And today we are going to discuss one poem. The name of the poem is My Mother at 66, which is written by a very famous Indian English author. The name of the poet is Kamala Das. In this poem, the poet explains her relationship with her mother, who has grown old and her age is now 66. The poet expresses her fear, her bondage with the mother, and how she feels as she has due to the growing oldness of her. So, the poem is like this. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doors open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse. So, one day the poet was driving from some Friday, the poet was driving from her parents' home to Cochin airport and her mother was sitting beside her in the car. So her mother has grown so old that while she was sitting in the car, she was dozing and her mouth was open and her face lacked the earlier glow and shine that she had in her young age. So her face was Asian, that means colorless, like that of a corpse. Corpse means dead body. And realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. Okay, so she looked very old. She looked that she has grown old, and the poet feels that physically and mentally both she has grown old now, but soon put that thoughts away and looked out at young trees sprinting and the merry children spilling out of their homes. So, what the poet does, the poet puts that thought away. She does not want to remember that sin, does not want to remember the thing that her mother has grown old, and that's why she looks out through the window of the car, and in the outer world she sees some trees, some young trees, which was sprinting. Sprinting means going backward, running very fast. So as she was uh, moving upward, the trees were going or running backward, and some merry children spilling out of their homes. Merry children means some happy children, they were coming out of their homes. Now, here we see a contrast between the outer world, that is, the world outside the car, and the world inside the car. The two worlds are completely opposite. Inside the car, the poet had her old mother beside her, who has lost her glow, who has become pale like that of a corpse, and she was very unhappy. She was pained to see that. On the other hand, the outer world was happy, young, and the phrases like young trees, merry children. These words shows that outside world was much more happier than the poet. But after the airport's security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her. So they finally reached the airport, and when the security check was over in the airport, she was standing some yards away from her mother, and she looked again towards her. And what she saw? She saw wan pale. I looked again at her wan pale. So when the poet looked at her mother, she saw that she was wan, colorless, and pale as the late winter's moon. Okay, this is a simile. Simile means where two similar objects are compared. See, late winter's moon. In the winter season, the moon is pale. The glow of the moon is not found. Why? Because the fog covers the glow, the moonlight. That's why the mother is compared with the winter's moon, late winter's moon. That means the winter's moon is glowless, pale. In the same manner, the mother of the poet is also pale and colorless, and she does not have the earlier glow as she had in her youth, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. The poet in this line says that the poet is afraid to lose her mother. During our childhood, all the children are afraid to lose their mother. So, in the same manner, the poet felt the same ache, same pain, which is very familiar, the pain that she used to feel when she was a child. So, that childhood fear came back to her, and that fear is of losing her mother. Her mother, who has grown old now, who may be going to die very soon, but the poet does not want to lose her, and that's why she felt a kind of pain in her heart, the pain of loss. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." And all I did was smile and smile and smile. But the poet did not want to show her pain, show her fear to her mother. She does not want to leave any negative message when she was going to leave her mother, and she wanted to depart from her mother with all the positive vibes, positive emotions, and that's why when she was departing from her mother, she gave or she left a positive message, that is, see you soon. Okay, see you soon means we are going to meet again very soon. So, a hope, she left a ray of hope in the heart of her mother. And what she did, she smiled and smiled looking at her. So, this smile actually describes the positive note that she wanted to leave for her mother. Though she was not happy at all within within herself, when she was thinking that her mother was she was going to lose her mother very soon, she was pained, but she did not want to depart with this painful message, and that's why she smiled and smiled at her and departed from her mother. So, this is all about the poem. Thank you so much for bearing with me.